Good afternoon, everybody. Mike Knademan here, and we are very excited to bring you a webinar today about local SEO secrets that all those pros out there don't want you to know. And with me today, we have Mindy Weinstein, per usual, and we also have Cole Ingram on the line.
Great. Well, thanks so much, Mike. We're looking forward to today. Local SEO is definitely a hot topic, and there is a reason as to why. And again, like Mike mentioned, we're going to be giving you tips that the pros don't want you to know because they want to do it for you. So again, this is classified top secret until today. So we have our very own SEO manager, Cole Ingram, here today, and I'm going to be interviewing him throughout the webinar. He is our local SEO guru. He's the guy behind the scenes making it all happen when it comes to local search and organic search in general. So Cole, thanks so much for being here today.
Of course, bear with me, everybody. This is my first webinar. So.
Oh, you're going to do great. We'll be easy on you. And I added a nice little SEO genius to his picture. Those are my image editing skills right there at work. So as we start out, you have to understand that local search engine optimization is a little bit different. It's not the same as organic SEO. There's various tactics that you need to take, and that's what we're going to be going over today. Now, Cole, on a scale of 1 to 10 on importance, where would you place local SEO?
I'd place local SEO at a 10. I think it's one of those important things that a business can focus on.
Did everyone catch that? A 10. So we're getting a little feedback there. So Mike, can you tell where the feedback's coming from? Okay, there we go. All right, well that caught everyone's attention. So again, let's move forward. Local SEO, Cole mentioned it's a 10. So that means if you are a local business, if you're a service provider, if you're practicing law, you're practicing medicine, you need to make sure that you are paying attention to this right here because you are trying to go after your local market, your cities, close to your area. This right here, this webinar is going to make all the difference for you. So, Cole, can you walk us through some of the main goals of local SEO because they're a little bit different than organic SEO?
Yeah, absolutely. One of the biggest goals in local SEO is to be found in the search engine pages for local search in Google as well as its equivalents. If you're in your local business listings, which we'll refer to as citations and get into one of their actual real uses later on, and basically just increase your visibility to clients in your area, the area you're targeting, the area your business is located, and its surrounding areas.
Right, that's big. Because people have to remember, especially our clients, they're going after, again, the local market. If you don't do these tips that we're talking about, then all of a sudden you're trying to compete on a national level, and that's not really, unless you're a national lawyer or you take customers and clients throughout the country, it's not what you want to do. So these things are very important. And Cole, you just mentioned the buzzword local citations. We are going to be giving you some great information on that in the slides ahead. So just to step back a little bit too, why local SEO? Why do we even care about it? Really, here's why. Local SEO has become even more important over the years. Every single year it seems to gain in importance and relevance. So you have to pay attention to it. As of right now, 1 in 3 queries people type into the standard Google search bar are about places. So that means locations. 1 in 3, that's humongous. And in the past it was 1 in 5, which wasn't that long ago. So you can see the trend and where it's going. So you have to pay special attention to the local aspect of your web marketing. And we're going to answer this in the next slide, but why does Google's use of geographic information make local SEO something that you should consider? This is why. And I actually pulled this from a search yesterday. So I'm located in Southern California. It automatically pulled my location. I typed in medical malpractice attorney. This right here, what you're looking at, is the top half of the screen. So I just took a screenshot for you. I mean, what do you see there? I mean, do you see the organic? If you scroll down in the search, you would have seen it. But the top half of my screen was dedicated to, well, of course, there's always going to be the paid advertising. Google has to make money, right? But then right underneath that, you see Google plus local right here. And that is what your clients are seeing. And you need to make sure that you are showing up here. So with that, we are going to be talking about local. And we're going to get started with talking about Google plus local, because obviously that's the biggest player. So that's where we're going to get going first. So Cole, can you explain to the group, what is Google plus local? There's a lot of confusion. Wasn't it Google Places? What is it now? What is it in general, Cole? And why do we care about it?
Sure. Google plus local, Google Places is really the most important aspect and potentially the most confounding aspect of your local SEO campaign. As it exists today, Google plus local really is what you know as Google Places with kind of a Google plus shell. You can spend a whole other webinar talking about why Google went this route, but basically they were really trying to push Google plus for a variety of reasons. And you basically, in order to have a local presence, you need a Google Places or Google plus local. I'll probably unintentionally refer to them as each during this webinar, but just in your mind, think of them as the same thing.
As the same, and that's good because I think there's a lot of confusion. And just stepping back a moment too, we are going to allocate time at the end of this webinar for questions, because I know this is one of those confusing topics, and a lot of people do have issues with Google plus local listing or maybe some local citations, so we will make sure and have time for questions. So if you want to get started, if you haven't actually claimed your Google plus local listing, you need to do it. I mean, that's really one of the first things you got to do, and we're going to talk about that here in a second. But it's easy. I mean, all you have to do is go to that link we provided for you. Use the link highlighted below. Don't click the chef. Click the nice woman holding the red. I don't even know what that is. I know it's their logo, but I don't even know what it's supposed to be. Pin. I think it's a pin. So click on that one. Don't click on the chef, and you can get started. So Cole, can you walk us through, how to set up your listing? I mean, how would you approach that for one of our clients?
Yeah, absolutely. This has changed a little bit. In this day and age, I really recommend used to be able to use an address outside of your Gmail account, but going forward, I think it's really best practices to use a Gmail address and to use your local phone number to verify to sign up, and basically it's going to give you the option to have them call your office. If you can do that, that's great. It'll save you a good bit of hassle, but for most people it's going to be a postcard that you're going to get in the mail in between 1 and 3 weeks, depending on where you're located, and it's going to have a nice PIN number that you enter in.
Can we stop real quick on the postcard, because that seems to be one of the biggest issues for us. I mean, I know that with clients that we're working on their SEO, that postcard gets lost, doesn't it? I mean, what are your thoughts? I mean, people, it's small, right? And how quickly, again, can you reiterate how quickly they'll get that so they know to keep an eye out for that thing?
Yeah, they say 2 to 3 weeks. It's really about 1 to 3 weeks. It is a small postcard. They have a new format, but it's for a verification method that at this moment I can't recommend. So you're going to be looking for a small postcard. We actually didn't include a picture of it in the slide, but after the show, we could definitely send something out with a picture.
I was just thinking that too. I don't know why we didn't have that in here, but we'll send you one so you make sure that you don't miss it and your staff doesn't miss it too. So didn't mean to interrupt you. You keep going with talking.
Sure, and we're going to touch on this stuff later, but these are just some general overall best practices. You only need to claim your office once. You want just one listing for your office. There are lots of different theories as to what multiple listings do for the same location, and what everyone agrees on is that it's all bad. So you do not want more than one listing for each office.
And when you say bad, I mean, can you explain what that
Sure.
means?
Oh, yeah. What does bad mean? Basically, it's gonna split your ranking equity. It's gonna limit your ability to limit your your visibility for the terms you want to be found for locally. So it's a process that we actually don't cover on this webinar. There's a couple different ways to go about it, but it's generally a part of any local SEO campaign is to find and delete duplicate local pages.
All right, and that's a really big point, so I don't want that to be missed on anyone. If you have multiple listings for the same location, bad. That's going to hurt you, so everything else you're doing locally, it's not going to be as effective. So that's good.
Oh, and yes, just in case we didn't make it clear, this is the page where you're reviewed, where people can review you through via Google, which we'll get into, as it's a very important factor.
Exactly. Reviews are big, so we definitely have a lot on that. So, here's a tip that we included, and it was Cole's tip, but when you are updating your listing, and you claimed your listing, so whether it's the first time or you're going back and updating it, make sure you enter the local telephone number you use for your office. Again, the local telephone number, not a toll-free number. Important. So we try to emphasize that in this slide. That's one of those things you can check it off your list after you look for the local telephone number. So this is actually hot off the press, if you want to mention this, Cole, and how big of a deal this actually is.
Yeah, this is brand new, live as of, depending on where you're located, either end of last week or the beginning of this week. Google actually will provide you with phone support. This is crazy. This is only for verification issues, for basically any issue you have with verifying the first step of claiming your profile. Yeah, basically you go through the troubleshooter and say you tried to initiate PIN verification for a single listing, indicate you asked for a postcard, waited the correct amount of time, and then you will see this form, and someone will call you in about 10 minutes. And I don't have a lot of feedback on how this process is, but the fact that this process exists is big for the end user, and it's big because this whole places, Google Plus Local, has been in a big transition period, and this is kind of Google admitting that
it is hard.
There's a problem with it, because it is so
right.
important to local businesses that they deserve this for a long time, and I'm happy to see that that does now exist.
Right, that's great. And maybe by next webinar, next month, we can tell you more about this phone support. But again, it's brand new, so we haven't used it yet. Anyway, that's good to know it's there. Cole, I mean, what do you include in your listing? It seems like there's so much information you could put in. I mean, how do you know what's relevant and what's going to help the SEO part of your campaign?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you want to put in a nice, honest description, overview of what your business does. Previously, a lot of people would think these were good opportunities to stuff keywords in, and that's really diminished as a ranking factor. So this is really an issue of conversion when you're creating your description. Really let them know what you do. And in terms of pictures, I think obviously pictures of your staff, pictures of outside your office. We're going to get into later some of the other things you can add to this that are really ranking factors. But this is more of just a completion issue and putting a consistent message forward about your business.
So just so I'm clear, if I was writing a description and I'm in Los Angeles and I represent car accident victims, I wouldn't just say I'm a Los Angeles car accident attorney representing car accident clients within Los Angeles. That wouldn't work?
Right. I mean, you certainly could do that, but this really description is you're writing for a person. So. Okay.
I love that. Write for people, because that's how we used to write back in the day. Actually write as if someone's going to read it. So that's a good thing. Now, what about optimizing your listing? How would you go about doing that?
Yeah, really what you want to do is make sure everything is complete. Fill in as much information as you can that you have, of course. I mean, if you don't have an 800 number, don't just create an 800 number, put in there. Make sure it pertains to your business, but it's just making it as complete as possible. That being said, there is an additional information box at the bottom, and previously this was thought to be an area where you can really send signals and exploit some tricks, and basically Google's caught up to that, and you really don't want to put anything in there that isn't relevant to your business, because it's just not going to be displayed. They basically, as of now, I said it's a product in transition. They no longer use that. So
that's good, and I like what you just said. Be relevant. I mean, be relevant, be helpful, because you can do all this work to get someone to find your Google Plus local listing. So let's say that you did some different things to optimize it, but if someone gets there and it just doesn't look good, or you haven't taken the time to update it, you haven't written that good description, they're going to go on to the next listing that they see. And so really your efforts of optimizing and all that is lost anyway. So it always comes back to, again, thinking about the person on the other end, person searching on their phone, on their tablet, on their computer. I mean, that's really what it's all about. And that's what Google wants you to be. They want you to be relevant. They want to help the end user. I mean, that's what they care about. So this, again, is one of those things that is hot off the presses, the 2012 Google Plus local factors. So, Cole, I'll give you a moment to quickly read through these so the group can hear all of them. But for today, we are planning on going through the first 7. And the reason, just for sake of time, and again, they're the top 7. But just know there are 10 factors total. So, Cole, can you just briefly read through these so the group understands what is included in their Google Plus local and the rankings?
absolutely. And like Mindy said, we're going to go over the top 7. At the end, if anybody has specific questions about 8, 9, 10, or something you believe to be important that isn't on this list, feel free to ask me about it. Number 1 is physical address in the city of search. Number 2 would be proper category associations. Number 3, proximity of address to centroid. Number 4, the domain authority of the website. Number 5, the quantity of structured citations. Number 6, city, state, and places landing page title. Number 7, quantity of native places reviews. And then 8, 9, and 10, which we will not be going over on this webinar, the quality / authority of structured citations, local area code on place page, and the HTML NAP matching page NAP, which we won't be going over that. So NAP is name, address, phone.
And some of these, it is a little bit of crossover. And just so everyone knows, the fact that we didn't include the last 3 doesn't mean that they're not important. It just means we have only a certain amount of time today. But we will, am I right, Cole? I mean, some of these we'll be talking about because we're talking about consistency. And we already mentioned the local area code. That was important. We even have the important stamp so you wouldn't miss it. All right, well, let's start with the first factor. So, Cole, why don't you walk us through this one?
Sure. This one is let's see, physical address in the city searched. Basically, what this means is that in order to appear in local search, you need to be located in that area. It's both a simple and a complicated thing. Basically, for local factors, you can't rank for a city that you're not located in. Organically, there's ways to do this, but when you talk about local search, your business has to be in the city. It's pretty cut and dry.
So are you saying okay, so I'm in California. I'm in Orange County, but a smaller city. I'm actually in Fullerton. But I really want to rank well locally for Costa Mesa, but my office is in Fullerton. I mean, I'm going to rank locally for Fullerton is what you're saying. There's things we can do organically for Costa Mesa, but you have to focus on where your physical address is.
Yeah.
And you just said that, but I just want to reiterate that because it comes up, and I've heard that before. Well, I don't understand, you know, I'm in the Dallas area. Even though my office might not be in Dallas, can I still rank well? So something to understand that it's going to be where you're located. And
yeah,
that's
I'll
is.
flesh that out a little bit in ranking factor 3, because of course
Okay.
there are always exceptions to everything.
And I believe you mentioned this a little bit in ranking factor 3, but you know, put top secret because this is, even though you said you can't really manipulate the search results, there's a few things you can do. So if you want to touch on this one, and I believe you're going to touch on it more in the other factor. So, Cole, I mean, what do you have, like with the slide we have here, you're talking about organic SEO. You said that with organic SEO you can do a little bit of manipulation. Can you explain this a little bit?
Sure. It's basically not every search that somebody makes is going to trigger a local search. So having content about the town you want to rank for, you're able to do so. But if that search triggers local search, you can't appear in those results.
Right. And I always like when we use the word content, of course. So if you caught that, write some content on some of those other cities. So if I'm wanting to rank for Costa Mesa and I'm in Fullerton, I might as well write some pages or some articles about Costa Mesa. And then there's other things you can do, but at least get started with content. You know, Cole, so here's a question for you. So Google Plus local searches, how can you rank for, well, we just answered that. Go ahead and skip that. So we get to ranking factor 3. So ranking factor 2, proper category associations. What does that even mean? Can you explain that to us, Cole?
Absolutely. When you set up your Google Places, Google Plus local page, you have the opportunity to say what category your business is in, and this is your chance to send the signal to Google what your business does. And let's see how many more slides we have on this before I get ahead.
We talked about category tips on the next one. You ready for me to move forward?
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm going to.
All right, there you go.
Okay, sure. And I always like to begin these because these do change a lot with talking about some stuff that used to work that no longer does work. A big thing before was geo-modified categories. You know, Google gives you the option, a personal injury attorney is a category that they provide. So you would say, oh, I'm not at that. I'm a Orlando personal injury attorney. Well, Google already knows that you're in Orlando. Unless you're not in Orlando, then like I said, you're not going to be able to rank for it. So don't do that. What you really want to do is use the Google supplied categories where they're applicable. And then if you need to go to a custom category, because they don't actually describe what your business does, do that. There's a lot more to choosing the custom categories. I don't want to get into it too much, but I will say basically what you want to do is see that those searches trigger a local search, and that whichever tools you use, that there is volume behind that. That's kind of the best way to choose a custom category.
Have you done any custom categories recently for clients that you can give an example? I mean, if not, we can move on, but I'm just curious.
Yes. Some of the bankruptcy stuff or finance stuff isn't really served by Google, and depending on what area you're in, there is a good amount of traffic behind those searches, and it's good to to tell people what you're really doing. Again, these categories are something that I believe are going to change quite a bit, and actually might move to something that you don't actually even tell them these things. It would be Google deciding based upon the content of your website or what people say about you, but that hasn't happened yet. That's stuff going forward. But as it stands today, you get to tell them what you do. So.
Got it. So improvement in the future, hopefully, fingers crossed, because that would be pretty great if they could do that. All right, well, let's move on to factor 3, and this one always cracks me up, proximity of address to centroid. I don't think I ever used the term centroid in my everyday language, but here it is, and it's ranking factor 3. So can you walk us through this one a little bit?
Yeah, this one pops up from time to time, and it's back again, and it's a bit different. What this originally meant was literally a business closer to the center of town had a better chance to rank for a term than a business further away when they first rolled out Google Places. I'll say that again, start to go fast. The closer you were to the center of town, you had a better chance to rank. I mean, businesses would consider opening an office in just the center of town for that reason alone. That's kind of a simplistic way to look at a city. And so now what this centroid means is it's kind of defined by what town it is. A lot of people believe that a certain commercial district would be a centroid, basically an area where they know businesses are located. I mean, if you go back to the previous slide for a second, I did get ahead of myself. Right, and another factor about this is it depends on your town. I live in New York City. New York City is a very dense city. Something in New Jersey would actually be mileage not very far away from me, but I probably am not looking for, let's say I'm looking for pizza delivery. I'm probably not looking for a place in New Jersey to deliver me a pizza that doesn't really serve my needs. So this is when we talked about factor 1. It depends on your area. If you're in a more rural area, they're going to understand better that people will seek out businesses further away. So the more dense your area is, and really the more dense it is with businesses that do what you do, is the distance an important factor, if that makes sense.
That makes sense to me. Are you ready to move forward to the next one? Okay. I think we've touched on all this. Okay, so let's go to number 4, the domain authority of a website.
Absolutely. What this represents is really the convergence of local SEO with organic SEO. So what this is saying is the fourth most important ranking factor is the authority of your website. If your website isn't ranking well organically, that is a signal that it might not rank well locally. So while local SEO is really important, what this basically tells you is you can't focus on it alone, especially in more competitive fields. You need to work on your organic SEO. And I threw in this caveat. This means for relevant searches. No matter how great your SEO, organic or local is, a business is never really going to appear or rank for a search for something it doesn't do. So that's what I'm trying to say. There's no way to, if you're again, I'll go back to the pizza shop. If you're a pizza shop and you have the best SEO team, organic and local, you're not going to rank as like a veterinarian, no matter how much work you put in, because that's just simply not what you do. So.
Well, and I think what you mentioned here actually brings it up an interesting point. So you have local SEO, you have organic SEO. We talked about that, and they're a little bit different, but they go hand in hand. I mean, the domain authority of a website. So you can't look at your web marketing campaign and say, okay, I don't want to do everything because who wants to do all that? It's too much work. So I'm just going to pick something that I'm going to work on, and I'm going to ignore the rest. So I'm just going to do local SEO work, the things that we're talking about today. While you need to do these things, you can't ignore getting links to your website. You can't ignore adding content, because those things are important too. You can't ignore social media. So you can't pick and choose. It all works together. And anyway, I'll get off my soapbox and we can continue on. We added this in here. We have a great competitive analysis tool, and that will tell you measures the authority of your page. So it's an awesome tool. You can ask us more about it later. And also within DSS, we do give you a lot of SEO information in there as well. So take a look at your dashboard, and if you have any questions, feel free to ask. That's what we're here for.
These really are the best places for anyone with false web marketing to look at the authority of their domain because they pull from a variety of proprietary sources. So it's not information you can just go out and necessarily find on your own for free.
Right, exactly. And we make it easy for you. So you just, it's a matter of clicking some boxes here and clicking the button, and we deliver the information to you. Let's go to ranking factor 5, the quantity of structured citations.
IYPs is Internet Yellow Pages, by the way. Just always like to tell people.
I was going to have you say that.
Yeah, but this basically means this is the number of structured citations, and on here is the graphic is a good listing of the majority of these are structured citations. Localese down there is actually a data aggregator, and what this means is the amount of citations that your business is on. These are thought of in a very simplistic term, local links, if you will. These are the links you get for your local. So having that filled out Yelp profile, having the filled out city search profile, all the ones listed, and then all the obscure ones for what, maybe that's niche specific or specific to your area. What it's saying is the fifth most important factor is the sheer amount of these that you have.
Well, and with that, okay, so the citation, because I feel like that is vague, and you just touched on it. It's filling out these profiles, but a citation is basically your business listing. Is that correct? So
yes.
Listing the business name and address and telephone number. I mean, we're not talking about something like really technical or fancy here. I mean, it's just business information.
Yes, it's very simple, and it's not mentioned here, but and a very important factor is the consistency, that it all matches what you have on your website, what you have on your places page, and what you put on each of these individual ones. The big three, the name, address, phone, they all have to be the same.
And you know what, we do touch on that a little bit because we have a slide in here about a program you can use that will help you. But again, I think that's worth repeating, that it needs to be consistent. So you have to make sure it reads the same. So does that mean that, like, if you abbreviate street on one listing, that it should be the same on the next one? I mean, is it that specific, Cole?
Yes. Basically, it's evolving to where it doesn't have to be that, but it's a safer approach to list things the same. And actually, you can get away with that a little bit. The one where you really can't get away with it is your name. And if you have any abbreviations after your name, the consistency of the name is incredibly important across all of these.
Right, which you should be getting your name right anyway, but you never know. We've seen a lot. So we have another slide in here just talking about, hate to use the word manipulating, that's why it's in quotations there. But can you talk a little bit more about these data providers and speak a little bit?
Yeah, absolutely. There's lots of different mapping systems out there, and with the data providers is really kind of behind the scenes. Some data providers do provide information to some of these front-facing citations, but a lot of it is behind the scenes stuff, and this is still a really important thing to do. It's not something where you can necessarily show the impact in terms of links, but it's basically a database that you really want to be on.
All right, that's great. Okay, so we're going to continue talking a little bit more about these data providers because that is something that you have to understand. So, so the following websites provide data about your business directly to Google Plus Local. And here is one of the big ones. So, Cole, you can explain Localese to us and why that's something I'd be familiar with.
They've been around for a while. They're actually undergoing a bit of a transformation right now. It's an important one to be on. It does cost money. There is a free paid version. We do it for all our clients. It's really recommended.
All right, we have a couple. Oh, then InfoUSA is another one. I have one about Yext here in a moment, but InfoUSA. Anything else to say to that besides the fact that they also provide data?
You see these things like Telenav, Tell Me. These are all these are things that help. Some of these, I believe Telenav is one. You actually get to tell them specifically on a map where your business is. This is how. Hey, why does my business not appear where it appears? It could be. It's wrong on any number of these sites. These are really the behind-the-scenes providers of this information. And as a new business, getting on these Localese and InfoUSA, UBL, it's really important to get on those as soon as possible because there actually isn't any information out there already about you. So.
And how would they get on these?
You go to the site. Like I said, these are businesses. They change their model. InfoUSA is free. UBL I think is free. Like I said, Localese cost money. You go on there and you fill out information. It's got to be consistent. Again, this is another place where consistency is very important.
Yep, consistency. Well, that brings us to Yext, too. So if you don't mind explaining what Yext is and why people need it.
Sure. We are a reseller of Yext. Yext is really a way to scale up the local citation aspect of your business very quickly. They partner with an increasingly large listing of local citations, and it's a way to basically make one listing that then creates many, and it's a way to, if your phone number changes or you're moving, to update a lot of sources very quickly. It's a really good.
Right, and easy. I mean,
yes, very easy.
And it's one of those things because, even like doing the local citations, it's not hard. It's not like it's not advanced, but it's tedious if you're going on each of these websites and you're making sure that you have your listing on there, and then you're making sure that you had your name correct, because all of a sudden you realize, oh my goodness, I forgot a part of, maybe I didn't put PLC at the end or something to that effect. That can get time-consuming, and I don't think that a lot of you want to spend hours upon hours on your local citations. And that's why Yext is really big, because it does it for you. So it's a small fee that you pay, but when you consider the amount of hours you'd have to pour in and how many more clients and cases that you'd be able to handle with that time, it's definitely worth it. And it also ensures consistency. Consistency. We're going to say that probably a few more times before we're done today. So ranking factor number 6. So we're working our way down the list. What do you have to say about this one, Cole?
Yeah, this is the city and state in the page title of your landing page. This basically is saying that it's an important ranking factor to have when I say landing page of your Google Plus Local, you're given the option to put in what website you want to be associated with your business. And if you have multiple locations, you can have a listing for each location, so you can choose what you want the page to be. And this is saying that the 6th most important factor is that the city and state are in the page title. And what I take that to really mean is that your page is optimized for that area. Your page serves the needs of people from that area.
And this one too just shows again the importance of your organic SEO too. Again, you can't pick and choose. You have to optimize your website, and you also should have good content too for whatever landing page they're going to end up on. Wouldn't you say?
Absolutely.
Now let me ask you a question. Does the page connected with your listing really matter? I mean, is it that big of a deal? How you talked about you can choose which website, and if you've got different locations, is it that big of a deal?
Yeah, I mean it's the 6th most important ranking factor. It's important as a factor and also as a conversion technique.
All right, I agree with you. That's what I knew you'd say. That's why I asked you that question. All right, so we discussed what happens if your business has more than one location. Cole just mentioned you got to decide which website or which page you're going to choose. But there's some tips, because I understand that a lot of you have multiple offices. And so, Cole, if you can kind of walk us through this example of someone who might have 2 different offices and how they would go about their local SEO or local listing.
Sure. This is a really simple example about if you have an office in Dallas and an office in Austin. And this example, the way I picture the setup is their primary office is in Dallas, and they have a satellite office in Austin. So in this example, they would have use their homepage for their Dallas listing, optimized for Dallas, speaking to Dallas, and then create a landing page, an Austin-specific page on their site that they would then use for their Austin location as a way to serve ranking factor number 6.
I think that's great. And also, I was just thinking about, as you're talking, most of you know what we're talking about when we say landing page, but I realize not everyone might be clear. A landing page is the main page that someone would arrive on if they're looking for Austin information. So there's different ways to set it up. I mean, it could be like a sub-practice area. It could be a library article that you have. And there's different ways to do it. And if you have questions about that, I mean, feel free to shoot us an email after this webinar, because I have a content report I can send you that talks about how to write a landing page and how to optimize it. So we do have tips. I mean, we have tips on everything that we're explaining, so feel free to ask your questions. So that leads us to ranking factor number 7, and reviews is a big deal. So Cole, I'm going to hand this one over to you.
Sure. This is ranking factor number 7, the quantity of native Google Plus local reviews. In a nutshell, this means the number of reviews on your Google Plus local page for your business. And this is, again, another area where Google is in flux. They have bought Zagat or Zagat, depending on how you want to pronounce it, and they used that for a while in a numerical system. They switched to a word-based system, good, excellent, and fair, poor to fair. But this is an area where they're going to be making some more changes soon. But basically, the point of this is you need reviews. You need a certain volume of reviews is an important ranking factor.
And something that I know comes up with this, and we actually addressed it on the next slide. You and I both heard from clients, and they said, "Okay, well, I know so-and-so gave me a review. Why don't I see it?" So, I mean, here's a possible explanation, but can you go through this one a little bit more and also explain, like, what you have to be, or if you're the person reviewing, what do you need to do?
Absolutely. It's obviously difficult, can be difficult to get reviews, and it's certainly very frustrating to lose reviews. As I said, they're in a process of making a lot of changes, and sometimes a review is just going to be lost. Because of that, it's very frustrating. But for a lot of people, it's because they just really haven't kept up with the changes. One of the most important things when they did transition from Google Places to Google Plus Local was how they dealt with reviews, and basically they wanted to cut down on the practice of people spamming reviews, writing fake reviews. So in order for a review to appear, in order for a review to count, for it to not disappear, for it to satisfy ranking factor number 7, the account you sign up for your places must have a Google Plus individual account associated with it. And the person reviewing your business must also have a personal Google Plus account and be logged in order for your ranking factor in order for your review to satisfy ranking factor number 7.
Yeah, so that's definitely worth noting. And you kind of touched on this, but fake reviews. So can't I just get my kids to give me a review? And what about like my sister, my husband, my dog? Like those are reviews. It doesn't matter, does it?
Yeah, you certainly can. It's a waste of time. It's a waste of your time. It's a waste of their time. If you feel that you're not in a position to satisfy their requirements on the last screen of having a personal Google Plus account associated with the Google login you use for your listing, and you don't feel that you have customers or clients that have Google Plus accounts that they would be logged into to review your site, I recommend asking for reviews, getting reviews on third-party sites. And by third-party sites, I mean local citations. Some of these will actually show up on your Google Plus page because they are influenced by these third-party reviews. Basically, the whole local SEO is a big ecosystem. Some, like Yelp, are not. They won't show up. But basically, in a nutshell, find out if you're not able to satisfy the Google aspect of this, find out what third-party sites your customers, your clients really do use and seek reviews there.
And just one thing to bring up, because we saw this a while ago with one of our clients. Now, if you're motivated after this webinar and you're like, okay, I'm going to get reviews from my clients, Cole, you have to also make sure that you don't set yourself up in a way where it looks like genuine reviews are fake. Like, you don't want to go out and get a bunch posted all at the same time. Is that correct? I mean, could
Absolutely.
that make an impact?
I mean, I could do a whole webinar on reviews.
Maybe we'll do that another one. We'll do that on another one.
It's unfortunate that quantity reviews is such an important factor because it's so hard to, and it's a certain type of business to consistently get reviews. Basically, the review model is set up really to benefit restaurants in that they expect a certain amount of flow of reviews, consistency to that flow of reviews. Your restaurant's open every day, people eat there every day, a certain amount of people will consistently leave reviews, and that's really the model you want to follow. So in order to do that, you really have to incorporate getting reviews into your daily business practices. You don't want to get 40 reviews in 1 month and then not have reviews the next couple of months. There's a good chance that those reviews will go away, and if it's an investment of your time, it's not a very good investment. You're not going to get a good ROI on that.
Right. So get reviews every month consistently. I think that's a good takeaway there. Okay, so I want to make sure we have enough time for questions, but we do have a few more points to go through. Because we've talked mainly about Google plus local, but there are other factors and things you have to consider. Cole, would you mind walking us through this one a little bit and talking about Bing and Yahoo? And we already touched a little bit on multiple listings, so I don't know how much more there is to say on that.
Yeah, basically, I mean, Bing and Yahoo are becoming more competitive, especially with some of their mapping and becoming default providers on mobile phones. So you want to make sure that you do what we're saying in terms of these verifications of places on those services as well. A lot of people actually think of Yahoo as a local citation. So make sure you repeat your profile on Yahoo and Bing. And I don't have this listed on here, but I just wanted to touch on it really quick because it was a ranking factor, was that I say you do have, it's hard to get these reviews, and the third-party ones, the 8th ranking factor is quality, authority of structured citations. So basically, if you are going to focus on another site for reviews, choose a good one. Evaluate these authority sites. Evaluate the authority of these sites the same way we taught you to evaluate the authority of your own website. So.
That's good. So you're saying don't send people to all your clients to a spammy-looking site to leave your reviews. There you go. It makes sense to me. Well, we are pretty much closing up our talk for today, but we'll make sure we have time for questions, like I mentioned. But, in closing, one major benefit of local SEO to remember has to do with mobile devices. I mean, that is really, besides the fact that the blended search results with Google has changed quite a bit. People are using their iPhones more. They're using their Droids. They're using their now I'm at a loss. All the products, iPad. Okay, the iPads. All those things to do searches now, and you need to make sure that you are then paying careful attention to local SEO. So the thought is that local will pass 50% of all search queries in 2013 to 2014, but it already has on mobile devices. I think I butchered that. Cole, did I say that right?
No, that's right.
My bad. So basically, we're just trying to tell you that take what you learned today and go do it, please, because we want you to get more clients in your local area. We want you to do well, and that's what these webinars are all about. So I created a little bit of a checklist for you, which is very simplified considering all the information that we just went over. But the first thing you need to do is to claim your Google Plus local listing if you haven't. If you've already claimed it, then you need to make sure you've updated it using the tips that we gave you. You need to also obtain local citations. Make sure you are consistent. So I told you we'd fit that in there again. So consistency, consistency, consistency. Huge. Number 3, encourage genuine reviews from your clients. And like Cole mentioned, if they don't have a Google Plus profile, then you can have them review you on a third-party site. But just make sure you're getting reviews. And so with that, side note, you know, your websites, most of your websites have a testimonials section, which is good. And you want to make sure you have testimonials posted, but reviews is something in addition to that. So it's not either or. I mean, it's something in addition you need to do. So the last thing I have on here is make sure the landing page you use for your local listing is optimized correctly. And I would add to that and even say make sure it's compelling, make sure it's interesting, make sure it answers prospects' questions, and it makes them want to contact you. That it doesn't just look like you are preaching at them or that you are trying to just get ranked high in search results. You want to show them that you genuinely care, that you can help them, and you want them to take the next step to contact you. So we've covered a lot. There's a lot to SEO, and which is why we actually created a report recently, which is, even though we said this in the last webinar, it is just about done. We are so close, and we will get this out to you, anyone who's ordered it. But I would recommend this to everyone. The title, Think You've Been Lied To, The Truth Behind Ethical SEO Secrets That the Pros Don't Want You to Know. So there's a lot more to it. We talk about local SEO in here. We also talk about a lot of myths that different SEO companies use to try to get your business. But it's just really crucial that you at least get SEO, that you can talk the talk, you can recognize when something's not right, and you can even take the steps to fix it. So with that, we have about 10 minutes left for questions. So Mike, have we had any questions at this point?
Yes, we do. We actually have quite a few. And the first one is actually from Max Myers, and it goes like this. What if you share office space with multiple attorneys with different firms under the same address? How do you handle that issue with Google Plus Local?
That is a very good question. Cole, what do you think?
I mean, that kind of exposes a weakness in the current system that Google has. I think that's something that they're addressing with that phone verification. They know that their system isn't perfect. That's a tough situation. In the past, that could be something that would trigger what we refer to as a merge listing, where your information can be combined with someone else's information. I would say follow the steps that we provided here to claim your listing, and if you have an issue, please take advantage of that. That phone
support.
They just want to know that what you're doing is legitimate, that you are a business located there, and that if there's a person on the other end, I'm hopeful that will be the big outcome of adding that service.
Great.
All right, we have another question from Terry Robinette, and she asks, we have asked our most satisfied clients to write a Google review. The last 5 have not appeared. Is there any way to find where they've gone or what has happened?
Yeah, that's a great question. I mean, you can always submit issues to Google. Usually there's a link on a page you're on. Most of the time you might get an email back. Like I said, they just rolled out the phone, but that's only for verification issues. I'd probably say that step 1, check to see that your login that you use for your places has a Google Plus account associated with it. Step 2 would be to check that the people you've asked to get a review also have a Google Plus account. If they don't, I mean, they're not going to appear, or they're going to just simply disappear. Barring anything else, I can send out a link. Obviously, Google uses a couple different algorithms to determine if they think the review is fake or not. There's a good website that you can run reviews through to basically to give any signs that it might trigger something to think that it's fake. So that's kind of a third thing you can do to protect yourself.
That's great, Cole. Thanks. Yeah, that tool will be really helpful. What else do you got, Mike?
We have a question from Steve Whitehead, who's listening in all the way from the UK, and he says, Hi, we have an old Google Places listing. The address is still accurate, but we no longer have the login details as the member of the staff left years ago. How do we get access to this to update it?
Yeah, that's a great question. There are a couple different ways to go about it. What I would do is I would reclaim it with your new login. And basically what you'll have to do is re-verify the listing all over again, but it will give you access to it.
That's good. So you can use the tips that we showed then, right? Well, the screen we had where we said don't click on the chef, click here instead.
Yes.
You just want to make sure you're logged in with your Gmail account. Is that correct?
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. Good.
And then we have a question from Britt Volpe. And she asks, how do you find yourself or know if you have a listing already?
Yeah, that's a great question. Google your name. Search for it in the maps, or the local. I'm trying to think what they changed it so much. What it even says now. Portion of your browser and see what it appears, or search for your phone number. That's how you do it. Another way to do it when in the claims process, when you go through the process of claiming and you enter in your phone number, it will actually display any listing that they have associated with the information you entered in, your name, your address, your phone number. So there's kind of two ways. You can do it ahead of time, or in the process of claiming it, it will show you what's already out there. And don't get freaked out if there's something out there. Google wants to keep their maps updated, so a variety of factors can cause them to create a listing for you that you didn't create yourself. It's not a.
So they're not keeping tabs. They're not.
Right, they're not keeping tabs. No one's trying to steal your business. They're just trying to have the most, updated information that they can.
Got it. Mike, what else do you have?
Our good friend Steve Richardson is asking if you have just one location, should your landing page be your home page?
Yes. I mean, I think that's what most people do. That's typically best practices.
Well, I think we have time for a couple more questions.
Okay. Well, we just have a couple more anyway, so that works.
Okay, good.
Holly Littles asks, how do you make a picture show up on local results?
That's actually something that is in the process of being worked on. Does you mean a picture from your business? You would just make sure that you have pictures uploaded. When we spoke about adding stuff to your profile, that's the process you use. I will say this, I personally actually have had some issues where a picture will show up that you don't want to show up, or one will show up that you won't be able to get one you want to show up. I think it's something that hopefully Google's going to address in the new rollout. So just have the pictures you would like to show up associated with your account in your profile. Sorry.
Good. Well, Mike, you said, I think we have time for one more. Is there another question?
Yes. Annette Ludlow asks, the Google Plus and Google Places are confusing to keep separate. We have friends on the personal side that were supposed to be on the business side. How can we fix that?
Yeah, that's a great question. There's no really easy answer. We kind of skirted around an issue, which is that Google has worked to combine it. You can actually claim your business, your local business, through the Google Plus side. I'm recommending that you don't do that now, because that system is very broken. There's no back end. That solves that issue, but it opens up a Pandora's box of more issues, more technical issues. For now, the best way to do that would be to have a Google Plus business page that exists on Google Plus, and have your local Google Plus local page separate. Once they fix that, I think it's going to solve a lot of issues, but it's just something I can't recommend because of all the problems associated with it.
And Annette also asked for more information, to have more information sent to her regarding writing a landing page and optimizing. And Annette, I will be happy to send you a content writer's guide in the mail.
Great. Thanks, Mike. I think, do we have any more? Do we address all the questions?
We addressed all the questions.
Fantastic, and we are exactly at an hour. So thank you so much, Cole, for joining us today and going over all this great information. I know it's very helpful, and we get local SEO questions all the time. So this was great information. Thank you again. And thanks, Mike, and thank you everyone, too, for listening.